Maybe I didn't go up. What do I know? That's true. Mm-hmm. We're saying goodbye to we're just kind of When I can retire. Home for the last couple of years, I've been using this laptop, and I got a brand new laptop that was sent to me today, I signed for it. So I had the joyous occasion of trying to get them both up and running the way they're supposed to. It never works the way it's supposed to. It's like easy, just upload everything and download it to this one. You're like, yeah, I'll leave that one nice. 3 hours later, I'm just like, okay, what else don't I have? Work stuff. The operating system that my entire company works off of. NASCO, which was created in 1980. And it has not changed since 1980. Who created that? Really?
I'm going to have everybody take a seat. For those who are watching on our live broadcast, we're going to begin our service for Patricia. And we're just going to get everybody seated here. And then we're going to begin in a few minutes. We have one of our chaplains from hospice. And hospice, the different people from hospice, the nurses and social workers and all, were very helpful to the family of Patricia. And so we're grateful to have Ed here tonight, who will do the service, because the family was very impressed with hospice.
Good evening, everyone. My apologies for the delay. My name's Ed Matson, and I'm one of the chaplains from hospice of Orange and Sullivan counties who provided spiritual care to Patricia and her family while she was under her care. On behalf of Melissa and Greg, and the rest of Patricia's immediate family, I welcome everyone who is here tonight. Your presence is a tribute to the love and esteem that all of you held and still hold for Patricia, and is a comfort and balm for her family, and knowing that their grief and loss is shared with all of you. Before we talk about Patricia's life and share your memories of her, I would first like to open with 2 brief readings that may help us to understand what has happened and what will happen now that Patricia has left us. There will be a playing of one of Patricia's favorite hymns, Amazing Grace, between the readings. You're invited to sing along with the music if your heart so wills it. The first reading is called Gone From My Sight and is attributed to the poet and author Henry Van Dyke. I am standing upon the seashore. A ship at my side spreads her white sails in the morning breeze and starts for the blue ocean. She's an object of beauty and strength. I stand and watch until at last she hangs like a speck of white cloud just where the sea and the sky come down to mingle with each other. And then someone at my side says, "There she goes." Gone where? Gone from my sight. That is all. She is just as large in mast and hull and as spar as she was when she left my side, and just as able to bear her load of living freight to the place of destination. Her diminished size is in me, not in her. And that just at the moment when someone at my side says, "There she goes," there are other eyes watching her coming, and other voices ready to take up the glad shout. Here she comes. And that is dying.
chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior has ransomed me. And like a flood, His mercy reigns. Unending love, amazing grace. The Lord has promised good to me. His word, my hope secures. He will my shield and portion be. As long as life endures, the earth shall soon dissolve like snow. The sun forbear to shine, but God who called me here below will be forever mine. My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior has ransomed me. And like a flood, His mercy reigns. Unending love, amazing grace. My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior has ransomed me. And like a flood, His mercy reigns. Unending love, amazing grace. Unending love, amazing grace. Unending love, amazing grace.
The second reading comes as a request by way of Patricia's brother Art. It is a poem by David M. Romano entitled, When Tomorrow Starts Without Me. When tomorrow starts without me, and I am not here to see, if the sun should rise and find your eyes are filled with tears for me. I wish so much that you wouldn't cry the way you did today, while thinking of the many things we didn't get to say. I know how much you love me as much as I love you, and each time you think of me, I know you'll miss me too. But when tomorrow starts without me, please try to understand that an angel came and called my name and took me by the hand and said my place was ready in heaven far above, and that I'd have to leave behind all those I dearly love. But when I walked through heaven's gate, I felt so much at home. When God looked down and smiled at me from His great golden throne, He said, "This is eternity and all I promised you. Today your life on earth is past, but here it starts anew. I promise no tomorrow, for today will always last. And since each day is the same way, there's no longing for the past. So when tomorrow starts without me, don't think we're far apart. For every time you think of me, I'm right here in your heart." I make no special claim as to know what exactly happens to us after we die. There's many religions, many faiths with all their own beliefs. I leave it to wiser persons of faith to ascertain what happens when we cross the threshold of what the poet Mary Oliver calls the cottage of darkness. One thing I do know for certain, though, is that none of us are truly gone from this world as long as someone remembers us In that way, our stories never end. And even after we are gone, in that spirit, I will now invite anyone here so willing to come up and share a favorite memory of Patricia with the rest of us. I ask that you try to be brief, no more than 1 or 2 minutes, and try to project your voice if you are able, or use the microphone, so that everyone may hear you clearly. If you would not rather come up and would like to speak from your seat instead, feel free to raise your hand and I'll call on you, pointing you out. I'll start. I unfortunately only got to know Patricia in her last week of life. So I don't have many memories of her except, being at home with Melissa and Matthew. But with Melissa's permission, I would like to share a story that she told me about growing up. Now, many of you know Patricia loved to travel. She loved going to tropic locales like Hawaii, the Bahamas, and even Bermuda. And once, when her and her husband Ron were going to go to Bermuda when Melissa was young, she went to her mother full of concern, as most small children are when they hear that their parents are going away, and said, "Don't go to Bermuda. Be careful. Don't go to Bermuda. I don't want you to get lost in that triangle." Well, she made it home. But that story actually prompted me to share that first reading. Before I open it up to everybody else, just by way of a quick eulogy. Nobody's ever really gone. Their body may be gone, but their memories, our memories of their love, we carry them with us. And even in the midst of our sorrow and grief at Patricia's passing, this represents an opportunity for each and every one of you to take that love that you had for her and that she had for you and to share it with other people, people who never knew her, people who never heard some of your stories. And in that way, she's never truly gone. I would love to hear somebody else's memory if they'd be willing to come up and share or just share from the seat. If not, that's okay. Okay. Melissa had said that she had wanted to have a laying of flowers in the casket. I now invite Patricia's immediate family to come up and place the flowers in the casket as we listen and meditate upon the lyrics of Ed Sheeran's song, Supermarket Flowers, that Melissa had selected for this portion of the service.
Took the supermarket flowers from the windowsill. Through the day all tea in a cup. Backed up the photo album that you had made. Memories of a life that's been loved. Took the get well soon cards and stuffed animals. Poured the old ginger beer down the sink. Dad always told me, don't you cry when you're down. But Mom, there's a tear every time that I blink. Oh, I'm in pieces, it's tearing me up, but I know the heart that's broke is a heart that's been loved. So I'll sing hallelujah. You were an angel in the shape of my mom. the pillows, made the bed, stacked the chairs up, folded your nightgowns neatly in cake. John said he'd drive and put his hand on my cheek and wiped a tear from the side of my face. Now that I see the world as you did, 'cause I know a life with love is a life that's been lived. So I'll sing hallelujah. You were an angel in the shape of my mom. When I fell down, you'd be there holding me up. Spread your wings as you go, and when God takes you back, say hallelujah, you're home. Hallelujah, you were an angel in the shape of my mom. You got to see the person I have become. Spread your wings and I know that when God took you back, he said hallelujah, you're home.
Before I go, I just want to offer a few quick words on grief. Remember that the grief and loss you feel for Patricia is equal to the love and happiness you felt for her when she was alive. So even if your grief feels overwhelming and it's pushing everything out of your life, remember that is also the immensity of your love for her as well, and find comfort in that. They say that grief is a price we pay for love, but there are ways to share that cost. Love each other. Take care of each other. Let others take care of you. Share your memories of Patricia with people as the years go by so that her story never ends. I hope that by doing so, your grief is transformed back into love. May Patricia's story and our own stories travel down the years and reach shores undreamed of in this and any other world. Once again, on behalf of the family, I thank you for your presence here tonight. May each of you get home safely and with some small measure of comfort from joining together to honor and remember Patricia. Is that the obituary? Sure.
The chaplain just talked about Patricia's life, and so I thought it would be appropriate. I don't have any music. So I want to just go through her obituary because it talks a little bit about who this woman was. So Patricia Palmer was a lifetime resident of Middletown, which automatically made me feel very close to her because there's not a lot of us who were born in Middletown anymore. And she was a retired healthcare worker. When we think about healthcare workers and the people who care for our loved ones, sometimes at home and sometimes in nursing homes or other facilities, we think about the love that these people gave to our loved ones and how much it means to us as a family that while we can't be with them all the time, we have someone who really cares about them. And so we're grateful every single day for those healthcare workers like Patricia who took care of people. And you know, if some of those patients of hers were here, they would be able to stand up and say they don't know what they would have done without the care that they received from a person so beautiful as her. Well, Patricia had a lengthy illness. She died at home, surrounded by her family. She was 70 years old, and I can tell you the best thing they ever did for her was to let her be home. And we know that she had angels taking care of her. So she was the daughter of Arthur and Marion Wood Bunton, and she was born in Milltown on August 5th, 1952. Her very favorite place, I think, was her home. And even though she enjoyed traveling with Arthur, she enjoyed shopping and eating out with Melissa and Greg, we know that she was happiest in her own environment. In earlier days, she traveled. So you heard before, like the different places she traveled to and, you know, how much that traveling meant to her. Both she and Arthur, they were known for their barbecue cookouts with family and friends. That's wrong? I'm sorry? Ron. You're right. Right. You know what? I'm sorry about that. I have it in the next paragraph. So Patricia is survived by her devoted daughter, Melissa, her son, Gregory, and his significant other, Michelle, and her sister, whom she cherished, Carol Twilliger, and her brother, Arthur. She loved her precious grandchildren, you guys, Griffin, Jacob, Wyatt, Matthew, as well as several nieces and nephews. She was predeceased by her husband, Ronald, in 2014, their daughter, Kimberly, in 2017, and her beloved grandson, Joshua. So having this visitation here was very important for this family because you've heard about grief from Ed and how it takes a long time to kind of just get it through our head that they're not going to be with us. But we're going to bury her cremains in the Orange County Veterans Cemetery on Friday, and that's February 17th at 2 p.m. And I just want to read one little piece that I like very much, and I hope you do too. As long as I can, I will look at this world for the both of us. As long as I can, I'll laugh with the birds, I'll sing with the flowers, I will pray to the stars for both of us. And as long as I can, I will remember how many things on this earth, Patricia, that were your joy. And we will live as well as you would want us to live for as long as we can. And I think some of the things that our chaplain told us, to look out for each other, to take care of each other, to be safe, are some of the things that it may be hard for you to remember right now. But remember that we all keep you in our prayers, and we wish only the best for you. Melissa, I just have to tell you that taking care of your mom for as long as you did, we admire you very much. We hope you'll be okay. We know, just like your mom took care of lots of other people, like you gave it back to her. So tonight we want to say thank you for all of you that are watching our live stream. We're just going to kind of go over the casket with our camera so you can see that she's going with these beautiful roses, and she has beautiful pictures in her casket with her. And we want to say thank you all for those that are viewing, and especially for you guys that are here tonight, because if you weren't sure whether it mattered, I can tell you it matters the world that you showed up for the family. So God bless all of you, and thank you very much. Is there anybody that decided they wanted to say anything? Because you're welcome to do that. Anybody? I think it's hard to do it, and we don't tell you, come on, come up here. You don't want to come? Okay, it's okay, you don't have to come up.
I just want to say, like, I've known Missy since and Greg probably doesn't remember me, but I used to live across the street, and I distinctly remember all the time we'd come home from school with her and her husband Ron giggling like they were children. And I can just imagine them up there like teeing away with their daughter and just enjoying themselves. I know everyone here is hurting, but I know they're all together.
That's a beautiful thought. It really is, to think that they're together again. And
I can just
and
remember her laugh. She had the only laugh.
did she? Can you do it?
No, I can't do it. She got me beat.
Thank you very much for sharing that. We appreciate it. Is there anybody else? It's hard to do, I know. Like they say that's one of the most difficult things to do is get up and speak. But you know what? You can always write a little note to the family and let them know you're thinking about Patricia and things like that, that you remember her giggle and how both she and Ron, were really together and cared a lot about each other. So thank you very much. God bless you all, and thank you for being here. Beautiful flowers. That is very nice. One last thing, for those of you that live around here, on Friday, we're gonna gather here at 1:30, and then we're gonna travel to Orange County Veterans Cemetery so that we can bury Patricia with her husband Ron. He's at Orange County Veterans Cemetery. I don't know whether you've ever been there before or not, but if you haven't, it's a nice trip to take. It is very beautiful. It's taken care of by our county workers, and when you drive up the driveway, there's probably 150 flags that you see as you drive up, so you know right away this is a tribute to our veterans and to their spouses. So if you could come with us, we're gonna line up here in the parking lot at 1:30, and then we'll, drive down, and we'll have military, no, we won't have military honors, but we'll do this at, well, it's like a monument, and, we'll do a little prayer, and then, we'll bury her cremains. One thing she wanted was to be cremated, and so we're gonna follow through with that. So, any questions, anybody? Anybody that wants to know, 1:30, and we're gonna leave from here so we can be down there at 2. Okay? Thank you all very much.
Well, you've been close to this family in many different ways.